Welcome to the Palace and the Green Room in historic downtown Middlesboro. My name is Gary Daniels. I'm with LMU Community TV, Channel 24 and Channel 19, and also WLMU Cumberland Gap Radio, FM 91.3. And I'm here with Joslyn Hampton and Marty Charters, two of the members of Joslyn and Sweet Compression. It's wonderful to have you here this evening as part of the Levitt and Middlesboro Music Series. This is the fourth annual for us, and you were the opening act, and it has been a fantastic evening. Introduce yourself to our listening and our viewing audience, if you would.
Hi, I'm Joslyn Hampton, and I'm the lead singer of Joslyn and the Sweet Compression.
Marty Charters, guitarist, songwriter for the group. Joslyn and I write the tunes.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your whole musical experience, everything from your influences to your music now, and also where you perform and where you hope to go. So, a lot of questions there.
Which one shall we start with? Well, my musical influences are Chaka Khan, Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, Little Mariah in there. That's pretty much it.
Jill Scott.
Jill Scott, love Jill Scott, love Jill Scott. And of course, there's some operatic influence as well.
Mm-hmm.
Gospel is a huge influence in my singing as well.
So it's something I mentioned yesterday or earlier today when you called in at WLMU Radio. You were talking about how gospel music has influenced you. I have found that with a lot of great artists, how gospel music, whether it's gospel blues or any other form of gospel music, is a foundation, and it's that way for you. And I'm sure that's tied with family and church community as well.
Yeah.
Great influence and encouragement too.
Exactly.
Well, tell us a little bit about your songwriting and your co-opting together in that, and how it reflects too in the performances on stage for the audiences.
Sure, I grew up on that 70s funk music, R&B music, coming out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and those were kind of heroes for me and why I started playing. And then as I got into become a teen, the 80s, I got heavily into blues, and then I ended up playing with some of my blues heroes, including my all-time favorite blues singer, Junior Wells. I toured the whole world with him. And then I love the blues, but I always wanted to get back to the sort of commercial R&B records that I was buying when I was a kid, you know.
Sure.
And I like hooks and choruses and stuff like that. And so after I got off the road, I had a very dull experience for a long time with great musicians who I love that are close friends as well. But I felt like I was dying a musical death because we weren't going anywhere. And so when I realized that Joslyn was my favorite singer, and she's my stepdaughter, I talked to her and I said, we need to save our artistic lives here and form an original group. Well, let's write a batch of songs and let's get a career underway for you.
Certainly.
And I said the only thing is I suspected that she might want to make the kind of modern R&B record that you'd hear on the computer-generated record that you hear on the radio nowadays. And I said, I don't really know how to do that, and I don't really want to. I want to have like real instruments, real musicians playing real songs. And she said, no, I'm in. So we got together, and I got the core tunes together, and then we got together and finished them all, fleshed out the lyrics and the bridge here and a phrase there and stuff like that. And we had genuine co-writes when we were done. And 2 years into this, we're having a ball and things are going great.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah, we've just gone up.
Now you're based in Lexington, Kentucky, I
That's
understand. Right. Now tell us a little bit about your touring. Here you are tonight in Middlesboro, Kentucky, and again, you were the opening act for the Levitt series. Where have you been prior, and where do you plan to go next?
Well, as far as out of town, we're trying to get established in Louisville, Kentucky. We opened for Victor Wooten at a near sold-out show at Headliners one night and gained a lot of new fans. Our very first gig, we opened for Denny Lane, formerly of the Moody Blues and Paul McCartney and Wings. That was our very first gig. And
what was that like for you guys?
For me, it was a big deal. She was like, Denny Lane, I don't know who that is. No, but for me, it was a really big deal because I bought those records when I was young and stuff. And, so we've been playing mostly in Lexington, but now we're starting out with all the festivals statewide and things like that. We're now playing in Louisville, Cincinnati. We've got gigs coming up in Huntington, West Virginia, New Albany, Indiana. We've got Pete Fest in Louisville in September, Rails and Ales in Huntington. We're playing some clubs in Cincinnati now, trying to get into some others. Bookers are looking for those likes on Facebook.
Plug.
Like us on Facebook. The more of those you get, the greater confidence bookers in other cities have in your ability to draw.
I see. Now, how many days do you spend on the road thus far?
Not enough.
Not enough. So you're wanting to build this up, and this is a good opportunity. This Levitt series is to gain more of a fan base.
Yes,
absolutely. We're very popular in Lexington, but we're fearing overexposure now, so we're actually dialing back the gigging. We turn down more than we accept because we don't want people to get tired of us in a small, so we need to get on the road.
Well, we certainly wish you luck in that. Now, what are some of the upcoming, we mentioned some of the upcoming, but where do you hope to go maybe a couple of years from now? Where do you see yourself hoping?
Over the big pond?
Over the big pond?
Please.
Yes, because the sound is so popular, especially in Western Europe. Have you ever been approached by military bases? Because when I was stationed over, we had a lot of bands coming through. I was over in the Pacific, and a
Marine recruiter came to my high school one time, but that's as close as I can't get up too late for that. That's a good point he brings up. There's a lot of opportunity playing on military bases around the world and stuff like that too. And then to your point, the more classic variety of soul R&B music is very popular in Western Europe.
And there's a revival there. There's a revival here. How do you see that revival blossoming in America, and some of the artists too that you have connections with? Whether you're opening up for them or maybe they're going to open up for you. Describe, if you could, this revival of R&B and soul in America and really around the world.
I honestly don't understand how it could have ever died.
Amen to that.
I mean, it's nothing more pure than that R&B, that funky, soul-filled, stand flat-foot and sing music. I don't understand how it could have ever been lost. And for some people, they're like, what are you talking about? It was never lost. But in the grand scheme of things, it really has been lost. So I'm very, 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 very glad that we are trying to make a comeback.
Right.
As far as,
and
just singers.
And you and your band are part of this.
Yeah.
And we get compared fairly often to Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings without actually sounding like them at all. If anything, they are more traditionalist than we are. There's almost a novelty aspect to what they do because they're trying to nail the sounds of that time as closely as they can. They would like to be confused for a record from that time.
I see.
We're not really doing that. And they're hung up on the late 60s, early 70s, and they're really good at it. We're more into, like Rufus, Chaka Khan in post era, where it was more of a funk thing.
Sure.
But we're not trying to wrap it up in a novelty thing. We're not trying to be a period piece and dress that way and be mistaken for something from that time. We're just trying to do that vibe of thing, that real music thing, but right now.
And that reaches back, does it not? It transcends back in the time, and you're bringing it back, but yet you're in the very present. And is that part of the heart of the root of the revival?
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, if you could tell our listeners and our viewers about where they can find you all on social media, and then your next performance.
You can find us at Joslyn, Joslyn, and thesweetcompression.com. You can find us at Joslyn and the Sweet Compression on Facebook. And if you're following us on Instagram or Twitter, you can find us at Joslyn and TSC.
That's
Joslyn.
No CE here, just S.
Well, this has been a great pleasure. And I thank you all for taking time to sit
Thanks for having
and
us.
visit with us. And do know this too: our studios at WLMU They are open in the future, and also our TV studios. So if you want to come by and you're passing through this region, please contact us. We'll bring you into studio. We can play some music, or we can just talk about your music and play some CDs. It'd be good to have you come.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Oh, thank you both very much, and thank your band members as well.
Sure will.
Sure.
My name's Gary Daniels. I'm with WLMU FM 91.3 Cumberland Gap Radio, and also LMU Community TV. And I'm here at the Palace in downtown Middlesboro, the first opening act for the 4th annual Levitt Amp Middlesboro Music Series. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank